What's up, guys? Welcome back to another college basketball video. The madness is continuing here in the NCAA basketball world. Got my week 4 recap here for you guys. Finally getting back on track with this stuff. You can also catch my bracketology videos, predictions, weekly predictions. Just did my week 5 predictions earlier today. Check that out if you haven't yet. Going to be doing ranking videos soon. Doing my little version of the top 25, and the video will come out probably over the next week or two of my early, who I think is going to be the conference champions overall in each big conference. So stay tuned for that video. But got a lot of games to go through, so let's go through them. We'll start with the Syracuse IU game back on last Tuesday. That game was back and forth. I'm going to read the ESPN summary from this game. Gerard hits late free throws. Syracuse, of course, beating IU in double overtime, 112 to 110. This was a high-scoring match. This was back and forth. This was actually Syracuse's first. They won their first double overtime game at home since 1971. IU forward Miller Kopp was a huge essence to the team down the stretch. IU had 25 turnovers, and they overcame an 18-point deficit, second-half deficit. Didn't get off a shot at the final buzzer. Betty Boeheim, 27 points. Jimmy Boeheim had a career-high 26. Gerard finished with 22 points, combined for 12 of the Orange's 13 three-pointers. Shot at the three very well in this game. Buddy had said, "This is what we work for every day as a team. We're capable of doing a lot of good things. Everyone can help us. Just a great effort from everyone. We're not going to quit." Again, I'm reading the recap on ESPN app overall with this game. Trace Jackson Davis, of course, he led the Hoosiers with 31 points and 16 rebounds. That's a lot of rebounds for a college player. Cobb had a career best 28 points. Race Thompson, 17 points, 12 rebounds, 8 assists. Parker Stewart chipped in 20 points before fouling out. Jesse Edwards, 17 points, and Cole Swider, 14 for Syracuse, which has won 6 of the last 7 against the Hoosiers. So, both teams shot the ball very, very well in this game. IU out-rebounded Syracuse 46-31, but it was the turnovers for IU losing those possessions, extra possessions, which were critical. That was really the big difference in this game. And Syracuse got 18 steals, so Syracuse does have those quick hands. Syracuse still trying to fine-tune their defense overall. I don't know why it just did that. Do not even ask me why it just did that. My computer just did that by itself. Make sure I'm still recording here. I want to make sure that okay, we're good. Basically though, next game up, Pittsburgh, Minnesota. This was a very tight game, low-scoring affair. Minnesota pulling it out by 1 point. Not the greatest showing by either team. Low put back lifts unbeaten. Minnesota past Pitt. Luke Lowe put back the rebound off an E.J. Stevens miss with 2.5 seconds left in the game. Golden Gophers, who are I think now 7-0, remain undefeated. They went more than 5 minutes without a single shot made, which isn't good. You go tries with scoring, you're in trouble. Stevens hit a three-pointer with 5:48 left with Minnesota in front, and the Golden Gophers went without a field goal until Peyton Willis scored a layup with 30 seconds left. Under first-year coach Ben Johnson, Minnesota's roster is stocked with transfers from mid-major programs and has just 2 players, seniors Eric Curry and Willis, who have ever played for a high-major program. So they're getting the experience of course, playing the bigger teams, of course. A new field, kind of. It's a whole new experience. Of course, much tougher competition. Jamison Battle, a transfer from George Washington, led the Golden Gophers 16 points and 7 rebounds. Willis had 15 points, and the only points Lowe scored came on this game when he put back. Gophers were out-rebounded 40 of 33, but made up for that shortfall by making 7 of 19 from beyond the arc. John Huckley finished with 25 points and 14 rebounds. To lead Pitt, Mohamedou Gueye had 11 rebounds. So, kind of a strange game, kind of a sloppier game offensively for Minnesota due to not scoring. Yeah, it looks like a pretty. Pitt had 12 turnovers compared to Minnesota's 7, so Minnesota taking care of the ball was another difference maker in this game. Going forward, though, Minnesota, I'm not expecting them to have a crazy season. Same with Pitt. I mean, Pitt's 2-5. I mean, they're not really going to do a whole lot this year, so kind of taking that from there. Of course, Minnesota faces Michigan State tomorrow. I did pick. Well, I can't spoil it. You gotta watch the video in Week 5 picks. Purdue versus Florida State. Purdue, of course, now number 1, but I'm using the rankings from Week 4. This time I'm going to go ahead and, with the recap video, use the rankings from within that same week that I'm recapping the week of. And then for Week 5 recap, you'll see the rankings used. I used the rankings for Week 5 itself for the Week 5 recap video. Purdue dominated Florida State from start to finish in this game. Purdue uses a scoring combo to KO Seminoles. That's a great title, first off. Jaden Ivey scored 18 points and matched his career high of 4 3-pointers. Brandon Newman added 13 points, and Purdue overwhelmed FSU 93-65. Leonard Hamilton, quote, said, "I give Coach Matt Painter a lot of credit for assembling the most complete team I've played against in a long time. Sometimes you've got to call it like it is. This team has Final Four written all over it. I agree. Purdue has the best chance of a Final Four in a long freaking time, in my opinion. Even better, I think, than their 2019 run. It's been 41 years since they had a Final Four. Last time they were in it, 1980. So Purdue improved to 7-0 for the first time since 2015-16. Of course, now they're 8-0. Of course, we'll talk about that in the beginning of the game against Iowa. And they're 7 times since 1940. Purdue has shot 50% or better in all 7 games this season, their longest streak since an 8-game span in February and March of '87. With a little help, they just might ascend to the first number 1 ranking in school history, which is official. They have. Painter said, "I thought our ability to make some shots and then blend in some post-ups was big. Anytime we can have that complement of good decision-making, making threes, and using our size, we're going to put people in some binds." And that's the thing, too. The way that Purdue utilizes their shot creation, making it and just kind of changing things up, mixing it up, I think is key. It's huge for Purdue because really in reality, it's showing that Purdue's not a one-dimensional team. They're a multi-dimensional unit, which is just absolutely just crazy how they play. Jaden Ivey's just ridiculous, too. I just wanted to mention that, too. He's just crazy good. Losing starting guard Raekwon Evans and starting center Tenor Nam didn't help Florida State. Nam set up with a right knee injury, and Evans was in Montana to attend the funeral for his brother, who died November 20th from a rare and aggressive form of leukemia. It's very sad to hear about that. Hamilton didn't think it would have made any difference Tuesday. Florida State was led by Caleb Mills, transferred from Houston, with 22 points, and John Butler with 10 as its 4-game winning streak ended. Didn't take Purdue long to take control. Basically, Jaden Ivey said, "I think it just comes from all the hard work we've put into practice and buying into what the coaches tell us. Then when the game comes, it's executing perfectly. I think if we do that, we can be a really good team. We already are." And he's right. The big picture here, though, for Florida State, Hamilton's young team couldn't match the Boilermakers' size, talent, or maturity, but he's optimistic the Seminoles will improve. For now, the goal is to get sharper before they open ACC play on Saturday. Now, if you recall, Florida State historically has had some pretty tall teams. 2019, 17, they've had some really tall, stiff teams to where they throw their size around and play faster and just create havoc on the court. This is definitely not that same team. A lot of work needs to be done for Florida State. They're already not on a good start, or starting off on not such a good note. Purdue has not played the toughest schedule in America, but they've topped the 90-point mark 6 times, have 5 wins by 24 or more points, and victories over North Carolina, Villanova, and now Florida State, with more chances to improve an already strong resume. Here's a really cool thing, though, too. Hours before Purdue took the court, the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame announced Matt Painter would be part of next year's induction class. The ceremony is scheduled for Thursday, March 23rd. Or that's Wednesday, March 23rd. Apologize about that. In 17 seasons, of course, Painter's won 356 games with them. Seminoles haven't beaten a top 5 team since the 2019 ACC tournament semifinals against then number 2 Virginia, which went on to win that year's national title. So Florida State's been kind of unlucky lately, and I'm surprised by that because in 2020, before the tournament got canceled, Florida State was a projected 2 seed. I thought Florida State would have either gotten far or got upset by Providence by Providence. Providence is real hot going to that. Purdue. Sasha Stefanovic made 3 threes and finished with 11 points and 8 assists. Zach Edey and Isaiah Thompson both scored 12 points. Purdue is 9-1 all-time when ranked number 2 in a Big Ten Best 12-9 challenge in the Big Ten ACC Challenge. So Purdue really just one of the best offenses in the country. They know how to transition the ball. They could just get a shot from anywhere. I mean, they know how to. One thing, too, is the confidence in their shots. The shot selection is incredible. I'm impressed with Purdue, so we'll see how they keep it rolling. All right, here's my first game I got wrong. Northwestern Wake Forest. This is a close one. This was an overtime game, actually. Both teams kept it close. Laravia comes through in overtime as Wake Forest nips Northwestern. Laravia basically made the go-ahead jump shot with 5 seconds left in overtime. Came up with a steal on the ensuing possession to give Wake Forest a 77-73 victory. After Northwestern's Boo Buie made a layup to score at 73 with 20 seconds left in overtime, Wake Forest called timeout and worked the ball to Laravia, hit the jumper, stole the ball later as Buie lost possession. Laravia was fouled, made 2 key free throws to finish off the victory. Laravia and Alonzo Williams both scoring 21 points. Williams had 9 rebounds on Laravia's 7. Isaiah Mucius added 12 points. Pete Nance led Northwestern with 15 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists. Bowie scored 12 points, and Elijah Williams added 11. 8 ties in the 8-minute stretch of the second half. Goodness, yeah, it was a pretty tight game throughout. Wake Forest bounced back after taking its first loss to LSU in the championship game of the Emerald Coast Classic. Whoa, gosh. Northwestern opened the season 5-1 for the second consecutive year. So Northwestern and Wake Forest both maybe trying to really have a say-so with maybe trying to get being on the outside looking in with the tournament. I think if either team were to make the tournament somehow this year, I don't think they're going to be a high seed at all, of course. Northwestern's got some work to do. Can't quite finish the game, it seems like. Where was our major differences here? Northwestern out-rebounded Wake Forest, but it was basically Wake Forest made the bigger plays. They did. They made the bigger plays, and Northwestern just couldn't quite close it. It was a tight game, good game there, though, but lessons to be learned going forward for Northwestern. Future maybe looking a little promising for both teams. Wake Forest getting off to a good start. That's a good win for Wake Forest at home, by the way, too. We'll see what happens. Another game I got wrong, Clemson and Rutgers. Now, this one was weird because Rutgers, of course, going into this was just so up and down already. But tournament rematch from this past March, Rutgers gets the win 74-64. ESPN, were you drunk when you typed this? Roy Harper Jr.? His name's Ron Harper Jr.? He must be drunk. Got drunk with Roy Williams. Ron Harper Jr. scored 23 points and snared 9 rebounds. Scarlet Knights held an 8-point advantage at the break, half, 33-25. Clemson did battle back, but Rutgers held on to win. McConnell finished with 16 points for Rutgers, and Omarui and reserve Andre Hyatt each at 11. Collins with 18 points and grabbed 10 rebounds to lead Clemson. P.J. Hall and Hunter Tyson each at 10 points. Rutgers is a team that's been kind of up and down. Like, they lost to DePaul. I don't know what to make of them, though. They got the talent. It's hard for them to piece it together. I don't know what it is. We'll talk about them again later in the video. They did shoot well. Free throw shooting not great. They only shot 57% from the line. Kind of a tight game. Yeah, a tighter game, I guess you could say. Next match to break down. This was a shock. This was a shocker. This was a surprise. Ohio State sitting number 1 Duke. Of course, Duke's no longer number 1, of course, but Ohio State ices out Duke in final minutes. Ohio State was down 15 points in this game. What they showed a lot of us, and good word here to use in the article, resiliency. Ohio State does show some resilience. I've noticed this too against Florida, Seton Hall. They even trying to hang in there against Xavier. Of course, ultimately losing by 6. Zed Key scored a career-high 20 points, and Ohio State held number 1 Duke scoreless for the final 4.5 minutes, completing a rally from a 15-point second-half deficit to beat the Blue Devils back last Tuesday. E.J. Liddell hit 2 free throws and 106 remaining to give the Buckeyes their first lead since early in the first half, and this jumper made it 69-66 with 16 seconds left. Of course, Duke freshman Paul Bencaro missed a tying three-pointer. Cedric Russell got the rebound and closed it out at the free throw line. Ohio State's fans stormed the court as time expired. Chris Holtman had this to say: "I thought our ability to stay with it was really important. Players win games, and we had a number of guys make plays in the stretch." Just goes to show Ohio State does have some depth, really trying to get things going out of their team. After kind of a shakier start to the season, Ohio State may just be trying, might be finally getting things going better and better. Of course, Ohio State improved 2-1 against ranked foes this year with its 4th straight game decided in the final minutes. Of course, against Xavier, Seton Hall, Florida, those as well. Florida did win with I think it was a time expiring shot. Liddell had 14 points and 11 rebounds. Buckeyes knocked off Michigan State. Also, this is actually the second time Ohio State beat the number 1 team in the country for the second straight time on its home court. Buckeyes knocked off Michigan State 80-64 on January 7th, 2018. I guess it sounds like the second time in a row when they faced the number 1 team. Holtman said, "We've had some really dramatic games here. I don't think that's ending anytime soon. So if we think the tough games are over, we have another really, really challenge Sunday night at Penn State. That's the challenge in front of us right now. I don't know if I really consider Penn State a challenge. Wendell Moore Jr. of the Blue Devils with 17 points, and Bencaro finished with 14. Duke led by 13 at the half and extended that advantage to 49-34. Of course, then Ohio State roared back. Blue Devils missed their last 6 shots as Ohio State closed the game with a 12-0 run. Duke endured a 1-for-14 stretch earlier in the half. That's just bad. I don't know where they got that from. Duke had been shooting the ball well. Everyone on that team was shooting well before this game. I don't know what freaking happened to Duke. I wonder is because how young this team is, doing with the resilient, more veteran, experienced Ohio State team, just kind of they got real flustered, not being in that situation. It's because of the fact too they faced Gonzaga, too. I don't know what the difference you can make there though with that. When not getting the stops, we weren't able to lengthen the lead a couple times. That's what Mike Krzyzewski said. They just stayed right in there. Blue Devils shot 53% in the first half, and they shot abysmal in the second half. Red hot finish. Of course, Buckeyes closed the game really strong. Russell said, "We really dug in on the defensive side of things. It just felt good to come on top." Ohio State does have some good defense, especially with Liddell under the rim. Russell, of course, really stepping it up for Ohio State as well. He had more than quadrupled his total after coming into. He had just scored 3 points in his brief Buckeyes career since transferring from Louisiana. He shot 75% from the floor and a perfect 3 of 3 from beyond the arc, including a 3-pointer that pulled the Buckeyes within 2.5 minutes remaining. Takeaway trouble. Ohio State committed 12 turnovers while forcing a season-low 7. The Blue Devils capitalized for 15 points off their extra possessions. Big picture, Duke. For Duke, Moore, and Bencaro, Duke's leading scorers coming in were solid, shooting a combined 11 for 29, but they came up empty when it mattered most. Again, that is going to be something to keep an eye on because young teams, when they're put in a situation like that, they tend to fluster a lot. They tend to struggle when they're put in a situation like that. But again, though, they had the lead against Gonzaga too. They were facing Gonzaga, and they did just fine beating them. I don't know. Krzyzewski said, I thought we were worn out at the end, and it looked like it. Buckeyes had 12 turnovers and shot 50% at the free throw line. That's not really good. Areas they'll have to clean up before beginning Big Ten play this weekend. So, yeah, Duke, really bad loss by Duke, in my opinion. I don't know what freaking happened there. Again, horrible shooting, 4-14 from the three. Ohio State shot 40% from the three. Ohio State even out-rebounded Duke, which is kind of a shock because Duke's got some big physicals. Trevor Keels, Theo John, Mark Williams, Bankera himself. But Ohio State, I mean, they made the big, again, just like Wake Forest, they made the big plays. When it mattered most, Ohio State just was resilient. It's kind of like with Marquette against Illinois, the audacity to keep within the game. So, good job by the Buckeyes. All right, let's go to December games. We're going to kind of speed things up just a little bit. Michigan State getting a win over Louisville. This was a tough game in the beginning. Michigan State was playing kind of rough on the edges because Louisville has a defense that really begins to size up when you try to get on the inside. But Michigan State did eventually cut their defense up a bit, and they worked around it. Malik Hall helping Michigan State beat Louisville. He was the best player that they had on the court for stretches, showing flashes of his potential that Coach Tom Izzo would like to see more often. Malik Hall scored 8 of his 15 points in a 134 stretch early in the second half, helping the Spartans build a big lead when they needed to hold off Louisville 73-64. Malik is a real good player. What we're looking for him is some consistency. That's what Izzo said. Hall had a career-high 24 points in last week's win over Loyola Chicago, then scored just 2 points in a win over then number 22 Connecticut, and then 3 points, then lost to number 4 Baylor, in part because of an ankle injury. It was hurting, I'm not going to lie. That's what Hall said. The truth is, Spartans overcame an ongoing problem with 19 turnovers by playing well in spurts and making 10 of 18 three-pointers, which is very damn good. If you told me we'd be 6-2 after the schedule you played, I'll take it. I'm not satisfied because of the turnovers. That's what Izzo said. Cardinals led late in the first half, trailed by just 2 shortly after the half, fell behind by 20 midway through the second half. Louisville's L. Ellis scored 16 of his career-high 22 in less than 6 minutes, cutting the deficit to 8 with 126 left, but the visitors couldn't get closer. The first 28 minutes, we certainly weren't perfect, but we were battling, Coach Chris Mack of Louisville said. He had been on a 6-game suspension before this, too. Trey Davis scored 15 points, and Malik Williams had 10 for the Cardinals, who had made just 41% of their shots and were 7 of 27 on three-pointers. We've got to be able to figure out how to get the basketball on the lane efficiently so that we can get to the free throw line, of course, talking about drawing the foul, so that we can open up even better looks than we're getting. Yeah, Louisville's offense was really sputtering later in the game because Michigan State was tightening down. They were starting to play physical. They were getting physical at them back. Michigan State freshman Max Christie scored 8 of his 11 points in the second half. Gabe Brown and Jaden Atkins scored 10. Jaden Atkins, my apologies, scored 10 each. And Marcus Bingham contributed 9 points and 12 rebounds, 3 blocks, and 2 steals. So the defensive effort of Michigan State really shined through. Back from the beach, both teams are coming off a strong showing in the Bahamas. Of course, with the Michigan State heading to big Battle for Atlantis final. Michigan State's, well, one thing about Louisville, too, it may take the fourth-year coach Chris Mack for some time to get back into a groove to install an up-tempo offense with a new-look roster that includes 8 newcomers. Louisville, of course, a newer, fresher set of faces on our team. Izzo's squad back if the problem doesn't get fixed. Spartans went into the game averaging 15.5 turnovers, ranking number 304 of 350 teams. Hall said if we want to be a championship team, we have to be better on turnovers. Michigan State didn't have a turnover in 5+ minutes to start the game, then had 9 turnovers in the first half and 2 more in the opening minute of the second half. Izzo said he was perplexed how often his players turned the ball over because they were simply out of bounds. I might put one of those dog fences in, and when they step out of bounds, they'll get zapped, he joked. He said it. There's a physicality you have to play with at the offensive end, and we didn't do that, Max said. Give Michigan State a lot of credit. They're one of the best defensive teams in the country. So, yeah, Michigan State. really kind of pushing Louisville back. Louisville has that zone, more of a zone defense, kind of. They play big, kind of like an on-ball, more of an on-ball type defense, like Texas Tech. And Michigan State shot really well in this game. Really was impressed. They out-rebounded Louisville. They just kind of did everything. Michigan State did have 19 turnovers. That is a problem. Michigan State and IU both turn over the ball a lot. Like every Big Ten team's turn over the damn ball a bunch. Like Illinois is too. What gives? This was a crazy freaking game. Let's go to NC State, Nebraska. Had this one correct. 4 overtimes. Absolutely ridiculous. Sebron scores 39 points. He had some crazy stats, too. Darian Sebron scored a career-high 39 with 18 rebounds. 104 to 100. That 39 points is also a record for the Big Ten ACC Challenge. Pardon me. Sebron played 57 minutes, scored 4 of those points for the lead in the win. In the final 44 seconds of the Wild affair was fitting. He had scored a tying points for the Wolfpack in regulation, and in the first overtime had scored go-ahead points near the end of the second overtime in a game that saw 14 ties and 13 lead changes. Ebenezer Dewolna scored 4. I'm sorry if I said his name wrong. Scored 4 points for the Wolfpack, but blocked a career-high 8 shots. NC State had 11 blocks. Oh, my goodness. Alonzo Verge scored 25 points for Nebraska, Nebraska before fouling out in the final seconds. He had traded big last-minute baskets with Sebron throughout the game's 6 periods. Freshman Bryce McGowan's at 24 points and 9 rebounds. His brother or cousin, whatever that the relation is, Trey McGowan's not playing right now. He's injured. He's coming back in a few weeks. The game saw tempers flare late in regulation when players traded words, bumps, and shoves in front of the Wolfpack bench right after Jericho Helms launched a corner 3 over Lap Mayen as NC State erased a 14-point deficit to tie at 61. Mayen was ejected on a flagrant 2 foul, and NC State's Cam Hayes was ejected as well. That's crazy. Yeah. Packen won 27 consecutive regular season home games against non-conference opponents and has a 34-1 record against non-conference opponents in regular season home games under coach Kevin Keats. That's crazy. That is crazy. My goodness. Yeah, just an incredible freaking game. NC State shot the 3 horribly, only 17%, which is ridiculous. Nebraska not much better there. NC State had 66 rebounds. Wow. Nebraska at 51. 20 turnovers for NC State. Nebraska at 18. The block shots made a huge difference here. I mean, my gosh. Let's look at the box score, too. Yeah, we kind of talked about the points there. What a heck of a matchup. I mean, just, my goodness. That was crazy. NC State seems to be heading in the right direction with things, too. They could, we'll see how they play in the ACC. It's going to be pretty interesting to see that. Maryland, Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech getting a close victory here, 62-58. Mark Turgeon no longer coaching for Maryland. It's Danny Manning. Mutz late flurry lists Virginia Tech over Maryland. Justin Mutz hit a jumper and 1 of 2 free throws in the final 20 seconds. Kev Aluma posted his second double-double of the season for the Hokies with 17 points and 12 rebounds. Mutz pitched in with 16 points, while Couture, gosh, what in the world? Scored 12 on 4 of 7 shooting from beyond the arc. For Maryland, Kadis Wahab scored 14 points on 6 of 7 shooting the first half for Maryland before finishing with 18. Dante Scott at 11 points, while Hakeem Hart scored 10. Virginia Tech shot just 38% overall, being made 9 of 20 from distance, 45%. Maryland shot 42% overall, but hit just 1 of 13 three-point tries. Oh, my gosh. My goodness. Again, Maryland's completely just coming apart. I don't know what's going on with Maryland this year. They're just not putting this talent. Maryland's got a pretty good roster, and they can't put this damn talent together. Maryland did shoot a perfect 11 of 11 from free throw range. They even out-rebounded Virginia Tech. The difference was the sloppy three-point shooting from Maryland, and Maryland's turnovers. I don't know what to say about Maryland. They're kind of a discombobulated team. They're dysfunctional. Virginia Tech, not that bad. They're decent. Terrible. Maryland, my gosh. Oh Lord, here we go. Oklahoma, Florida. Oklahoma upset of Florida, 74-67. And what was a strange game to me, personally. There's no update on this. It just looked like Florida was just never in it. They barely. I don't think they even had the lead at all in this game. Once, had the lead once in this game. You had Castleton, Florida, 14 points and 11 rebounds. Fleming Jr. from the bench had 17 points. Oklahoma had two guys near 20. Well, Gross had 20 points. Hill at 18. Gibson 15 points. So Oklahoma utilizing their bigs with the scoring, kind of trying to throw their own size at Florida, seemed to work there too. Let's kind of go to the team stats here. We'll see what kind of big differences were here. Florida shot horribly from the 3, 4 of 24. Oklahoma didn't do much better there. They made 4 of 14. I don't know how the hell Florida. Yeah, Oklahoma had 10 steals, but Florida blocked 6 shots. It was Oklahoma kind of took an early lead, never looked back. It looks like, kind of that's kind of a strange loss for Florida. I also want to mention too, Florida freaking lost to Texas Southern yesterday. That's freaking embarrassing because Texas Southern was 0-6 going into the game. Florida dug their own grave, literally. Good job, Florida. Let's go to another Big East, Big 12 battle. This was a really intense game, actually. Providence, Texas Tech, this was a tight one. Well, Texas Tech had like a 14-point lead, and Providence cut that thing down to 2 at the half. Al Durham scored 23 points to lead Providence to a 4-point victory. Texas Tech was undefeated going into the game. Providence has won 4 straight against Big 12 conference opponents, being Texas 2019, TCU twice, 2018-2020. Pardon me. Texas Tech's Kevin Obener made a 3-pointer that tied the game at 65 at 2:10 remaining. Durham scored the next 4 points. Terrence Shannon's deep 3-pointer pulled the Red Raiders with a 69-68 with 59 seconds left. Durham and Allen Breed sealed it at the end free throw line. Durham was 5 of 13 from the floor and 12 of 13 shooting from the line. A.J. Reeves had 14 points and Ed Croswell had 11 for the Friars. Shannon Jr. scored 17 points to lead Texas Tech, while jumped out to a 25-13 advantage and led only by 2 at the break. Opener finished with 12 points and Kevin McCullough at a 10. It was just the second meeting between these two teams. Friars had beat them back in 77 by 1 point, the Rainbow Classic in Honolulu. So the one weird thing about this game is that I watched part of the game, and for some reason, in the first half, Providence couldn't quite work their way on the inside. Like, Texas Tech was just sized up in the middle so well. Like, Nate Watson had only 5 points. And Texas Tech's a larger team. I just watched them play Tennessee earlier tonight. You guys have to wait till next week to hear my thoughts about that game because, oh my goodness, that game was just, that definitely requires a drink, that's for sure, afterwards. Not even joking either, but for some reason Providence couldn't quite attack. They just were like stuck with trying to get on the inside. Texas Tech was just, it was similar to Louisville in a way with their defense. Texas Tech was just like, it looked like Providence was staring at a wall and they couldn't get it inside. I don't know what the hell it was about. They just shot a bunch from the outside. I don't understand it. But they made up for the guard play. The guard play is what really helped them out in this one, trying to really get the ball moving around better. I don't know though. I can't explain the Watson part of it. It's weird. Providence 6 of 20 from the 3. Texas Tech 7 of 23 from the 3. So both teams did not shoot great from the 3-point line. Pretty even matchup, though. It was Providence who made the big plays. Providence had made a run. Texas Tech just couldn't hold on to the lead. Yeah, they really let Providence come back. Texas Tech had 29 fouls compared to Providence's 22. So, of course, getting those extra free throw shots, Providence had 38 free throws. That was the difference in this game, too. The free throw shooting, because great free throw shooting from Providence really saved the day here from. What the hell? Saved the day here for Providence. UNC Michigan. This was an ass beating. North Carolina just beat up Michigan. This is hilarious, to be honest with you guys. Caleb Love and Armando Bacot believed North Carolina could play better than it showed in back-to-back losses to ranked teams. They proved against Michigan by winning 72-51. Caleb Love scored 22 points, held North Carolina take control after halftime. The Tar Heels handled the Wolverines well. North Carolina led by 2 at the half, but shot 58% after the break to turn the game into a surprising rout. It was a sign of growth after November losses to now number 1 Purdue and number 13 Tennessee a day later in the Hall of Fame tip-off in Cassville, Connecticut. First-year coach Hubert Davis says team's energy and effort were disappointing in the 17-point loss to the Volunteers. I don't know how the hell he lost like that. Do not even ask me. We just had to do some soul searching, and we had to figure it out. Do we really want to be a great team or a good team? Armando Bacot said. I feel like we took a step in the right direction. I mean, we were all just pretty upset and ticked off about it, and just some of the things that were just said about us as a team, we didn't like it at all. The response, Tar Heels were active defensively. They did a better job of establishing their paint presence to get better looks, as Dawson Garcia, 14 points, 2 3-pointers, and Bacot, 11 points, 14 rebounds, thrived. Hubert Davis said it felt like our guys wanted another opportunity against a big-time team. Bacot played aggressively out of the break and was fouled twice in a span of 12 seconds by Hunter Dickinson of Michigan early in the second half. That sent Dickinson to the bench for the next 10-plus minutes with 4 fouls. Oh my gosh. Hunter Dickinson's stats were just embarrassing. Tar Heels pounced to take advantage. Wolverines got nothing going in response to trails by as many as 25. Pardon me on that. I saw that we missed one of our best players during that run. Michigan coach Juwan Howard said from there, North Carolina really took advantage. They scored inside the paint pretty easy with less resistance. Michigan shot only 33% after halftime as UNC pushed the margin to double figures and then got back-to-back threes from left to make it 59-40 with almost 7 minutes left. Freshman Musa Diabite scored 13 points to lead Michigan, but missed his last 4 shots after a 5-for-5 start. Eli Brooks had 11 points, 7-1 Dickinson, who entered as the team's number 2 scorer and top rebounder. This dude had 4 points and 5 rebounds in 18 minutes. Good job, Dickinson. Whew. Another ugly loss for Howard's team, which struggled for second-half stops and never found a consistent rhythm. Michigan, the guard play is terrible, especially. That's just not helping them either. Hard to get stops when you're giving up good looks, Brooks said. This was the fewest points allowed by UNC in the ACC Big Ten Challenge game, with the previous low mark being 55 at Ohio State in the 07-08 season. UNC crowd honored ESPN announcer Dick Vitale with a standing ovation before the game. Vitale recently returned to work as he receives treatment for lymphoma. He is battling cancer. Yeah, really sad to see that. They were talking about how they wanted to be at Tennessee, Texas Tech. Just keep fighting, man. You know, he's a huge icon in college basketball. Just got to say this real quick. Watching him and coming back for the UCLA Gonzaga game and seeing him really emotional coming back, that touched me a bit. That was quite a moment there for him. Tar Heels also honored Anton Jameson at halftime after the former National Player of the Year, whose number 33 jersey is one of 8 retired by the program, is recently inducted into the National College Basketball Hall of Fame. Michigan did eventually get back on track in San Diego State. They beat them by 14. I do want to mention that. Michigan, though, continuing to try and find their way, though. Wisconsin on the road against Georgia Tech. Wisconsin picking up a pretty good win against Georgia Tech on the road. Davidson, of course, powers Wisconsin past Georgia Tech. He scored 9 straight points midway through the second half, had 27 overall. Excuse me, sorry. Michael DeVoe had 33 points for Georgia Tech. That's literally a whole half of what Georgia Tech had totally. Ridiculous. Which had its 5-game winning streak halted. Wisconsin coach Greg Gard called for his defense to extend itself outward toward DeVoe in the second half, and that led the ball to senior guard Jordan Usher for a 3-point shot when Tech trailed 66-64 with 24 seconds left remaining in the game. Usher, a transfer from USC, missed his shot badly. DeVoe is a handful. You see how he gets shots, you can defend it perfectly. He still knocks down shots, Gard said. I thought we were a little shaky early. I thought that was evident at the free throw line. I thought we were a little nervous early. DeVoe broke us down. Yellow Jackets forged a tie at 61, and DeVoe scored 17 points in the first half. Okay. Sophomore guard Devin Smith had 9 points and 11 rebounds for Georgia Tech. Wisconsin leading scorer Johnny Davis added 15 points and 6 rebounds. Badgers got 6 rebounds from 7-foot, fifth-year center Chris Vogt, all in the first half. Vogt saved us when we couldn't get a rebound to save our life, Gard said. Wisconsin won its 4th consecutive game on a substandard defensive night for the Badgers. They were allowing just 56.5 points per game. DeVoe scored half of Tech's points in the game when the contest came down to its most critical moment. Gard gave credit to freshman guard Chucky Hepburn for making a run at DeVoe to prevent him from getting a clean shot. Instead, the ball went to Usher. He got a great look, said Georgia Tech head coach Josh Pastner. For us to be successful moving forward, he's going to have to be good for us. So Georgia Tech really relying on one guy kind of didn't help him in the end. Georgia Tech needs to get the ball around to more people. Big picture, Wisconsin Badgers were steady, if not outstanding, on offense and blocked 5 Georgia Tech shots. They did defense. Georgia Tech, blooper, the mascot for the World Series champion Atlanta Braves, performed at the game. The mascot generally moved about McIntosh Pavilion in tandem with the Yellow Jackets' traditional mascot Buzz. What the hell? Okay. Quite a wild crowd there too for Georgia Tech. Of course, finals week coming up with colleges. Yeah, both teams shot pretty well overall. Wisconsin had poor free throw shooting at times. Got out rebounded too, as they were talking about the coach. But when it came down to it, Wisconsin's defense stepped up at the end, and they just made concentrated shots. That's what mattered most at the end. Georgia Tech, again, needs to utilize their players more, in my opinion. Get all the others, too. All right, this was probably my worst pick of the whole entire damn week 4 picks. I went for a shot with it for picking the upset, and Kansas responded. Kansas just absolutely laid it on St. John's, 95-75. This game wasn't even close. Kansas had the lead. They took off pretty quickly. Christian Brown performed extremely well. I think this would be his best. This might be his best game of his entire Kansas career. I mean, Kansas went freaking off. Brown had 31 points, 8 rebounds. McCormick, 15 points and 13 rebounds, so he really stepping it up finally again. Akbaji, 23 points. He had that 30-plus point performance against Michigan State. He's really playing really well. Remy Martin, kind of, I guess they're utilizing him as more of a two-way player, more defensively as of late. He had 12 points, but the contribution with Martin in there too. The way that Bill Self's playing this team is quite interesting. St. John's, Julian Champagny scoring 24 points, 8 rebounds. St. John's, everyone else kind of just didn't do a whole lot in terms of scoring. Alexander at 16, Ade, what the hell his name is? Had 16. Everyone else had like single digits, and the rebounding effort by St. John's was terrible. Kansas controlled the glass, 47-29 rebounds. Shot pretty well. 3-point shooting, it was okay. St. John's at 17 turnovers. Yeah. pretty major ass beating by Kansas there. Kansas really pushing it now, so they go going forward. Illinois, another ass beating. Illinois just completely dominated this game from start to finish. Plummer, Coke, I was calling Cockburn. Oh my gosh, Cockburn lead. We're having a stroke now. Lead Illinois past Rutgers 86-51. Illinois just dominated this game from start to finish. Alfonso Plummer scored 24 points. Cockburn had a double-double, and Illinois cruised to a 35-point win, 86-51. Cockburn, who came in the lead in the nation, is scoring at almost 27 points a game, scored a season-low 13 on 4 of 8 shooting, and grabbed a season-high 15 rebounds. Jacob Grandison had 16 points from Illinois. So, showing, what is showing, though, too, Cockburn's a dual threat with being that like a legit rebounder and whatnot. If you got guys that could do multiple things and are versatile, basically being versatile, those teams usually can perform well on a consistent basis. Of course, Illinois had problems, as we know. Trent Frazier being hurt. You gotta have like guys like Grandison step up and whatnot, and it's tough. It's really tough. Hawkins hit a 3-pointer, and then Williams hit another that gave Illinois the lead for good, and a spark a 16-2 run and made it 18-7 with 11 minutes left in the first half. Oh boy, Jaden Jones led Rutgers with 10 points. Harper went into the game leading the team in scoring. Finished with 5 points on 1 of 9 shooting. I wish I had sound effects playing right now, crickets and whatnot. Scarlet Knights shot just 31% from the field and made just 2 of 4 from the free throw line. Are you kidding me? Only 4? Don't even ask me. Illinois made 48% overall, hit 12 3-pointers, and out-rebounded Rutgers 47-33. This was a total domination. I don't have much else to say. Rutgers, why is that like a key? I'm not touching a damn video on my phone. My phone's being weird. Yeah, ridiculous. Illinois, only 10 turnovers, so much better taking care of the ball in this game. I mean, just what a pouncing by Illinois in this game. Purdue, Iowa, a bit of a scare here with Purdue. Iowa just tried their hardest to come back in this game. I mean, Purdue had a huge lead, and then Iowa just came roaring back in the final minutes, really giving Purdue a scare. Travion Williams showed his senior leadership down the stretch Friday night. Not only did he motivate his teammates, but he led the way with his effort. He contributed 13 points and 18 rebounds. Wow. Including 2 huge ones late. Jaden Ivey scored 19 points, and Purdue held off a late Iowa rally in the Big Ten opener for both teams. Purdue head coach thought Travion was grabbing the glass. He could have been aggressive scoring. His ability to rebound was huge. Again, going to show with like Cockburn, for instance, being more than just a scorer, especially when you're a big man. Of course, usually you gotta be. Usually with the bigs, you have more of a rebounding assignment, but being able to do both and play some defense, it just makes it a lot better for your team. Mason Gillis had 12 points off the bench for the Boilermakers. Purdue has some depth as well that helps them out too. Williams said Purdue needs to find ways to win when it isn't shooting well. One thing you can control is your effort. Williams said, I think we put in enough effort to get the job done. Hawkeyes were without Keegan Murray, who injured his ankle against Virginia earlier that week on Monday. Murray's been averaging almost 25 a game, 25 points and 9 rebounds a game. His twin brother Chris Murray started in his place. Patrick McCaffrey, that's the guy's name I've been trying to remember, led Iowa with 15 points. Tony Perkins scored 14 and Murray 12 for Iowa. Boilermakers had a 19-point lead dwindled to 2 with 3:08 left after Iowa went on an 11-0 run capped by Murray's three-pointer. Purdue held a 7-2 edge the rest of the way. Kept believing in each other. Iowa coach Fran McCaffrey said we kept executing. Iowa's comeback was helped by forcing 17 turnovers, which is uncharacteristic of Purdue. Iowa's I misread that. We put pressure on us. Ivy said they were really physical the whole game. We had some turnovers, but we can clean that up. Painter said there were defensive lapses too. You can't allow great players to have open shots. We were careless with the balls. With the balls? We were careless with the balls? That don't sound right. That's... Anyway, we were too cute with our passes. We had too many turnovers, but give Iowa credit, they played hard. Here's the thing, too. Of course, with great teams, too, there's going to be a game here and there where you play sloppy. It happens. Sometimes it can happen. You want to get in close games and win them. It really helps you through the season. It was the most physical game we played so far. I thought Iowa was tougher than us. Iowa had, 29 fouls. 11 more than Purdue. The Boilermakers made 18 of 29 free throws, while the Hawkeyes were 15 of 22. Iowa's Jordan Bohannon only had 4 points, 7 below his average. He was limited by 4 fouls. Bohannon, he, like I said earlier in the Week 5 picks video, he is like he's kind of a streaker. He's streaky. He'll shoot well sometimes and he won't shoot well. I just can't trust Bohannon all the time. Mainly a backcourt player, of course. Purdue led by as many as 17 before settling for a 39-26 halftime lead. They shot 42% in the opening half while holding Iowa to 27%. For the game, Purdue shot 42% and Iowa 40%. McCaffrey said they could hurt in so many ways. They have depth, experience, and size. It's going to be a hard team to beat. Big picture, of course, Hawkeyes were averaging 94 points in the first 7 games, struggled to score early without Keegan Murray. I think if Keegan Murray played, I think Purdue would have lost this game, believe it or not, because Keegan Murray is ridiculous. He's been playing so damn ridiculous this year. It's crazy. Iowa did shoot better in the second half at 53%. Boilermakers didn't have their best shooting performance and committed 17 turnovers, but the rebounding edge, the 42-30, and three-point advantage proved to be the difference. Purdue made 8 of 19 threes, while Iowa was 5 of 21. Oh, my goodness. But, yeah, of course, Trevion Williams said we don't want to settle for that. We want to stay number 1. Yeah, quite a crazy game. Purdue definitely having a first. Why does it keep doing that? Their first little slump-ish of the season, but they just kept hanging in there. If this was last year, Iowa would have beat them for sure. But Purdue with the more experienced Purdue team, they are figuring things out better. They're not losing their cool. They're keeping it controlled. Purdue's so dangerous. Wisconsin Marquette. This game was pretty kind of a runaway for Wisconsin. They kind of just took off with this one. Davis leads Wisconsin past Marquette. Brad Davidson is no slouch offensively, still with the talent like Johnny Davis on Wisconsin's roster. He says sometimes the best approach is to give the sophomore the ball and let him figure it out. Davis, who averaged 7 points a season coming off the bench last year, he scored 25 off 9 of 14 shooting Saturday, lead Wisconsin passing state rival Marquette 89-76. Now, Davis, who missed Wisconsin's only loss this season, has lifted this season average to more than 20 points a game. Davidson said, in my opinion, he's one of the best scorers in this country. He's shown that night in and night out, said Davidson, who had 20 points for Wisconsin. Badgers coach Greg Gard insisted it's not that simple. Crediting the space Wisconsin utilizes for creating the lanes that give Davis opportunities, and they did that to perfection on Saturday for a stretch in the second half. Wisconsin was sluggish out of the gate, hitting 5 of 19 from the field in a game that started with 13 lead changes and 6 ties. The Badgers began to take control in the second half, hitting 11 of 12 as they turned a 1-point advantage into a 59-44 lead. Marquette briefly cut the lead to single digits, but the Badgers then ran away with the game. Marquette coach Shaka Smart said the Golden Eagles' trouble started on the defensive end. 55 points that Marquette allowed in the second half was not far off from the 68 they have been giving a game coming into Saturday. We just didn't improve ourselves on the defensive end. I think that was demoralizing for our guys on offense, Smart said. Stephen Crowell and Chucky Hepburn each had 15 for Wisconsin. Justin Lewis scored 14 to lead Marquette, with Ozo Ighodaro and Darryl Marcel chipping 11 apiece. Marquette regularly presses and forces opponents into 16 turnovers a game, but Wisconsin was largely unfazed by the full court pressure. Badgers only had 11 turnovers, just 2 more than their season average. Guard praised Hepburn, the first true freshman to start a season opener for Wisconsin since 2001, saying he's wise beyond his years. For Chuck, he has 6 assists, 2 turnovers, and get pressed any time he's in the game. That's a pretty good sign. Marquette's still, of course, Shaka Smart still looking for the right combination of players. He said Golden Eagles are still learning how to play with each other. It was the first true road game of the season for Marquette. Challenge we have right now is we've got to figure out our best defensive lineup is how we figure out who are the 5 guys that can really, really depend on to stop these guys from scoring. We did not find that today. Another game here to talk about, Louisville, North Carolina State. This is a close one after NC State basically beat Nebraska. I think they're a little hungover coming to this game. Louisville wanting to get revenge, of course, for losing to Michigan State. Louisville played a great defensive effort here. Cross makes clutch plays. Matt Cross blocked a 3-pointer, made a 3-pointer in the final minute. Louisville scored a game's final 9 points, and they beat NC State in the ACC opener for both teams. Malik Williams led Louisville for 14 points and 11 rebounds. Cross had 13 points and 7 rebounds, and made 3 of 6 3-point tries. Locke scored 12 points, all on 4 of 8 3-point shooting. Dre Davis and Ellis scored 11 points each. NC State's Darian Sebron coming off, gosh, they have a double I in here. He was held to 11 points on 4 of 13 shooting with 9 rebounds. So Louisville's defense really stifling NC State in this game. Hayes scored 15 and Turquavion Smith, what kind of first name is that? Had 17. It was Louisville's 12th winning the Fast 14 conference openers. So NC State not shooting as well as they did against Nebraska. Louisville out-rebounded NC State 46-30. Louisville had 13 turnovers, but they just made the better shots in this game. Florida State lost to Syracuse. Not a good game for Florida State at all. Only 60 points. Syracuse defense starting to figure it out. Syracuse, of course, snapping Florida State's long home court winning streak. Cole Swider at 16 points. 16 points, 10 rebounds. 2 big free throws in the final minutes. Syracuse defeated Florida State 63-60 on Saturday. The loss snapped Florida State's 25-game home court winning streak in ACC play. Conference record is 26, set by Duke from 97 to 2000. Why am I getting dizzy for? Syracuse led 55-44, 5:43 left before Florida State, which had shot 20% for most of the second half, got hot. Yeah, Joe Girard scored 16 points, Jimmy Boeheim 13, Jesse Edwards 11 for Syracuse. Buddy Boeheim, the Orange's leading scorer, at 21 points per game, scored 6. The Stars scored all but 1 point for Syracuse. Mills led Florida State with 16 points, and Osborne had 10 points. The Seminoles made only 4 of 33-point attempts, which is just so damn atrocious. Yeah, terrible. Florida State, again, need to figure it out. Had this game correct, I thought I didn't, but a defensive game here, USC squeaking it out over Washington State, 63-61. Goodwin lifts at USC. Chavez Goodwin sank a layup and free throw with 16 seconds left to lift undefeated USC to a close game against a close victory over Washington State. Goodwin led USC with 14 points and had 5 rebounds. Drew Pearson scored 13 points, and Max Agbonkpolo, oh my gosh, that was hard to pronounce, scored 9 points for the Trojans and held a key block with 6 seconds left. Michael Flowers had 13 points to lead Washington State. Noah Williams finished with 12 points but missed 2 shots in the closing seconds, including a 3-pointer at the buzzer that would have given the Cougars the win. It's a back-and-forth game. USC's offensive efficiency, 50% from the field, proved to be too much for the Cougars, who shot just 38%, so Washington State's defense couldn't quite contain USC's offense. TJ Bamba hit a go-ahead 3 to give the Cougars a 61-60 lead. The rest was history there. USC kind of won. Terrific road win for USC. Coach Andy Enfield said, I thought our guys just gutted it out. We played very hard on both ends, got the defense to stop we needed to. We put our length in there. We put Max and Drew at the wings so we can have the most length we could for the last 30 seconds. Washington State coach Kyle Smith got another good defensive effort from his team, which held Arizona State to just 29 points in his previous game. Damn, that's bad. We just weren't fortunate tonight to get that one drop. Smith said of Williams' final shot, they're tough. They're able to switch things. And I said, their size and length. long-range shooting. USC made just 2 of 12 from three-point range. Washington State sunk 8 of 20, with USC a 38-28 advantage in the paint that proved decisive. Huh. Cougars were undone by making only 22 of 58 field goals. They fixed things up on offense just a little bit. Washington State's got the defense. They just got fixed up a little bit with the offensive end of things. This was a crazy game. Gonzaga, Alabama. Alabama really taking it to Gonzaga. I liked how Alabama was able to kill Gonzaga in the lane, basically. Jaden Shackelford just kept attacking the inside, mixing up the defense, making Holmgren. The Gonzaga's defense was just everywhere, not even in sync. Sizing up on Gonzaga in the inside. Gonzaga couldn't quite get the Timmy connection going. Alabama had it all. They kept shooting a three very well. It was a destructive game from start to finish. I apologize if you heard that. I had to let that one out. Goodness, this was a huge win for Alabama. This was the biggest win of their season. Jaden Shackelford had 28 points. Javon Kennerly and J.D. Davidson hitting key three-pointers as well. Crimson Tide made 10 of their 13 three-pointers in the first half. My goodness, they just were all over the place. Like the threes, they'll get in perfect position for it and shoot. It's just incredible how they do it. Alabama was 13 of 34 from three. Gonzaga shooting a three all right. They had made 9 of 23. Just Alabama made the big plays. It was crazy how that kind of came to be. Iowa State barely beats Creighton. This was a close game. Basically, wins grinding game. Iowa State put the kibosh on yet another negative streak that was left over from the last season's 222 campaign. They won their first true road game in 2 seasons on Saturday night. Caleb Grill, season high 16. Isaiah Brocky 10 in all, 12 of his points in the second half in Iowa State with new coach T.J. Otzelberger and an overhauled roster, extended its best start since an opening 9-0 in the 2015-16 season. Really tough for Cyclones, already in a losing streak of 18 in a row, 25 against Power 5 conference opponents. Now they have their first win in a true road game since they beat Kansas State in February 2019. Ryan Hawkins scored a season-high 25 to beat Creighton, and Ryan Nimhard had 10. Blue Jays lost for the first time in 24 non-conference home games after committing 21 turnovers, their most since they had 24 against Nebraska on November 29, 2008. Yeah, pretty tough game here. Really tough one overall for Creighton, or for Iowa State and Creighton, but Iowa State getting the dub. Northwestern, Maryland. I don't have a lot to say here with this one. I'm going to try to wrap this up because, like I said, I was getting a little dizzy. I don't know. That's kind of strange, but maybe just sitting here in the same position for an hour doing this. But Northwestern beats Maryland in Maine's coaching debut. Maryland continuing to have struggles. Chase Audige and Pete Nance sparked a breakaway run in the final 4 minutes. Northwestern held off cold shooting Maryland again. Maryland's shooting terrible at times. Just my goodness. I don't know what's going on with Maryland. It's just terrible. Nance had 17 points and 10 rebounds, 9 on defense. Boo Booey had 16 points with 4 assists. Audige scored 14. Wildcats shot 43%, sinking 10 more field goals than Maryland despite being outshot 6 3-pointers to 10 by the Terps. Maryland's now lost 3 in a row. Maryland finished at 29% shooting from the field, and 15 of its 34 points in the second half came from the free throw line. Yeah, Maryland's really just falling apart. I really don't understand this team. The field goal percentage was absolute trash. 29% for Maryland. Close rebounding there. Maryland had 14 turnovers compared to Northwestern's 11. Yeah, I don't know what to think of this team anymore. Xavier beats Oklahoma State in a close game. Xavier continuing its gritty play, of course. It was a tight one. Here. Scruggs Jones, leading Xavier. Scruggs scored 19. Colby Jones had 17 and 12 rebounds. 17 points, 12 rebounds, and Xavier defeated Oklahoma State. Musketeers won despite making only 1 field goal in the final 6:45 of the game in period, which they made 10 of 12 free throws, which was a big difference maker. Xavier was able to milk the lead from the line, and his three-pointer, 54 seconds left, gave the Musketeers a 10-point lead. Oklahoma State suffered through a 5-minute scoreless drought as a 58-55 deficit ballooned to 66-55. Avery Anderson scored 26 points for Oklahoma State, which shot 42% for the game. Made only 7 of 26 three-pointers. My goodness. So Xavier continuing to play well. Iowa lost to Illinois in a very tight game, very high-scoring affair. Illinois back on the turnover train in this game from what I saw. I mean, this was a close one from start to finish. This is the last game I think I picked. Cockburn scored a season-high 17, grabbed a career-high 18 rebounds, and Illinois scored 24 points at the free throw line to hold off Iowa. I converted 24-28 at the line, pulled down 52 rebounds, 33 off the defensive glass, and 13 by Cockburn. Despite being out-rebounded by 29 boards, Iowa managed to claw its way about a 15-point deficit, which was under 9 minutes left. Iowa continues to try to come back with these deficits. They're really tough. Keegan Murray played in this game. He went on a personal 10-2 run to get the Hawkeyes within 3. Alfonso Plummer buried a 3 and knocked down 2 from the line. Illinois hit 10-12 from the line. It's the final 62 seconds to close out the victory. Plummer finished with 21 points, 50% from beyond the three-point arc, 5 of 5 at the line. Granted set 12 of his 21 points from beyond the arc, and Trent Frazier was 3 of 5 from three-point range and finished with 18 points and 8 rebounds. Keegan Murray had 19 points and 3 steals, but struggled from the line, only 4 of 7. Tony Perkins had 16 points. Patrick McCaffrey scored 12, and Aron Ulis had 11 points for the Hawkeyes. So, yeah, Illinois winning a high-scoring close one. Illinois had 18 turnovers, and Iowa had only 4, which is ridiculous. But, yeah, I think that's it for the recap video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know it's kind of a longer didn't try to make it sound all like on autopilot, but I appreciate you guys watching this stuff. And I'll see you guys next time.